Chainsaw versus Pampass Grass is broadly in the theme. Some of the themes I think are going on in this poem are the very famous man versus nature, killing, the joy of killing, and maybe objects. And what if objects had their own lives and their own thoughts? Because what's happening in this poem is an extended personification, which is a metaphor, right, of the man's fight against this plant in his summer house. And he uses a proxy, which is this chainsaw, and he seems to really have a lot of fun, and he really enjoys it a lot. And that seems his kind of displacement of his own joy onto this chainsaw is really, for me, what I think this poem's about. It was an unlikely match. The title is like a boxing or a sci-fi movie, and it's really banal. Chainsaw versus grass. If you don't know, I mean, I'm not really familiar with plants. This is just a really stubborn, large weed, it seems. It seemed an unlikely match. All winter unplugged, grinding its teeth in a plastic sleeve, the chainsaw swung nose down from a hook in the dark room under the hatch in the floor. When offered the can, it knocked back a quarter pint of engine oil, and juices ran down from its joints, and threads oozed across the guide bar and the maker's name into the dry links. I think grinding its teeth knocked back. The juices ran, oozed. This is all giving personality. This is human. It's a human, and it's raring to go, but it's mixed in with the fact that it's inanimate. So we get the plastics. I love that, grinding its teeth in a plastic sleeve. So grinding its teeth also suggests that it's annoyed, wants to fight. Knocks back suggests like it's like a alcoholic drink. They're a street fighter. They're getting ready. And this is its preparation, just to wake up. But at the same time, it's been grinding its teeth. It's just annoyed. It's been waiting for this fight. From the summer house, still holding one last gulp of last year's heat behind its double doors, and hung with the weightless wreckage of wasps and flies, mothballed and spiders' wool. The imagery here is really, I think, just amazing. One last gulp of the heat. It's like when you close the door, and these are in fact double doors, it's held in time in the form of heat, and these spiders have mothballed, the spiders, that's a mixed kind of image, but the spider's wool is the spider's web, has wrapped up the wasps and flies and left them wrecked, but they're weightless. That's an ominous image of death and killing, time standing still, and the ellipse is just this is, I think, a setting that trails off. From there, I trailed the day glow orange power line the length of the lawn and the garden path, fed it out like powder from a keg, then walked back to the socket, flicked the switch, then walked again, and coupled the saw to the flex, clipped them together, then dropped the safety catch and gunned the trigger. I mean, it's like an action movie. Now this is action movie stuff, almost cartoonish. The simile here is to emphasize dynamite, gun the trigger. It's a gun. It's a killing machine. And now that it's woken up, it's juiced up. It's ready to go. No gearing up or getting to speed. Instant rage. Right away. Alive with divine anger. This chainsaw is personified. It is angry itself. The rush of metal lashing out at air connected to the mane. The chainsaw with this perfect disregard. What a does not care. Its mood to tangle with cloth or jewelry or hair. The chainsaw with its bloody desire, its sweet tooth for the flesh of the face and the bones underneath. This is particularly ominous about the potential danger of what this thing, this being, this beast can get up to. Its grand plan to kick back against nail or knot and rear up into the brain. I mean, it's dangerous. It could kill. It could kill the user. I let it flare, lifted it into the sun, and felt the 100 beats per second drumming in its heart. There's the real extended personification. Gargle in its throat. Gargle, drumming, heart. Again, it's banal to say, but it's that personification. Really emphasizes the violence, the energy, the life, like the poem Gun, I guess. The death and life are intimately connected. And continuing, the Pampass Grass. Now we have the opponent, okay? Here we get the description of the opponent and the contrast. Because now we're not seeing this being that's like alive and grinding its teeth and ready to fight and knocking back oil and, you know, could kill anything. We get this, it's ludicrous feathers and plumes. It's feminine. It's decorated. It's silly. The Pampass Grass taking the warm and light from cuttings and bulbs, sunning itself. Stealing the show with its footstools, cushions, and tufts, and its 12-foot spears. It's fantastic. It's a woman protected and dressed up and idle and silly and pampered. And I think Pampass Grass now makes me think of pampered grass, because that's what's happening, because it's sunning itself, and it's the center of attention, vain. And it's amazing how just through a little bit of description we get a whole sense of character. And I think that's what Armitage is doing in this poem and setting up this fight. He's imagining the things around him, the nature around him, actually has a life of its own. Okay, we've got to move on because we've got time pressure. This was the sledgehammer taken to crack the nut. He knows he's overdoing it. Okay, he's using a chainsaw to kill a glorified weed. And he says, all I needed was actually a pull, a shove, a pitchfork. This is actually all this task needed. But he is overkill. He's going overboard. He's extra. I touch the blur of the blade. That's a fantastic image of this moving death, this moving knife against the near post tip of a reed. Didn't exist. There's that juxtaposition's fantastic. That dash didn't exist. Gone. Emphasizes how quickly I dabbed, which is just a very soft gesture, but it dismissed the top third. So dabs dismiss. It shows how violent, how powerful this is, this chainsaw is. And it's just a game. It's going to be so simple destroying this stupid plant. And the plant juice spat from the pipes and tubes. Dust flew out as I ripped into pockets of dark, secret warmth. There you get, again, feminine. And actually now we see some kind of feminine, but I laugh because it's silly. But actually there's something more ominous there too. It's an unfair fight. And this rather male, brutal chainsaw is attacking this passive, ludicrous, feminine plant. To clear space to work, I raked whatever was severed or felled or torn towards the dead zone. I love these verbs. So he clears away, and all he sees left is a manhole cover or barrel lid. So it's just this, and then he cuts into it, but now the blade's becoming choked and fouled. So it's the limit, but it's not the limit for the speaker. He cuts into it and he sets it on fire. That's how much he hates this plant, and he leaves it at that. Okay. So obviously he should win. It's over. But actually, of course, it being a poem, this isn't the case, because this feminine object that's been battled and hurt comes back to life with new shoots, and this wonderful simile gives us a vegetable image. Asparagus tips, so we can see, oh, I can't draw this, but just little teeny shoots sprang up from its nest, and by June, watch, riding high in the saddle, obnoxious, in power, commanding, undefeated, this grass is back. And it's the king, baby. It's the king. The new crown is an vegetable image again, but it's a symbol of victory. Corn in Egypt, again, victory. I looked up from the upstairs window like the midday moon. So this image is really interesting to me. The speaker, it seems to me, is the moon looking down on a world come back to life. And he doesn't show any emotions, if you notice. It is the chainsaw. And the chainsaw seethed, vibrated, breathed in anger. And this is a yearly thing, He only comes to the summer house once a year, so he's like, look, I'll leave it. And he's going to let it grow back. And the chainsaw is going to work through its man-made dreams. Is it chainsaw or the man's dream? And giving it a chance to forget, but it won't forget, because the endless urge, the seamless urge to persist was as far as it got. It won't quit. Both sides are not going to let this battle end. And that maybe is one of the underlying themes of the poem, is that nature itself is this non-stop entity. It won't give up. And the chainsaw is really man-made. Its dreams are man-made. Its being is man-made. And it's this fight that is energized, is comic book, is science fiction. It's not going to stop. It's going to continue. And we really see that with this extended metaphor throughout the poem.